Studio mode. Live. Well, I think I'm live. I'm not sure where, but um, I just wanted to share something on the Facebook, and I've also got it connected to YouTube. And just like there's two opinions, like out there today. You got or the second opinion, or the other opinion that's not sort of like Djokovic. He's a healthy man, and he came over here to play tennis and that, and had convictions that he was healthy enough to get over any diseases or sicknesses that would come his way. And I thank God for Djokovic. He represents the second opinion. Like whenever you go to the doctor, you always want to get a second opinion, because the first doctor might write you off, and he might say, "Oh, that's that's can't help you," sort of thing. And like for thousands upon thousands of years, men have been getting over sicknesses and diseases. You go back to my grandmother's time, and she actually lost her. She lost her father, became an orphan because of the 100 years ago, because of the Spanish flu. And that was really unfortunate that my great grandfather died, and my grandmother became an orphan. But she was exposed to that, and she got over it. I mean, she didn't. I mean, people were exposed to that. I was looking at something just before. There was a whole family the father actually got the virus, but then he got quite bad from it, and the rest of the family got over it, but he didn't fare so well. But they all sort of got over it with their natural immunity, and that's the second opinion. That there's only one sort of opinion there, and you hear these people. If there's anyone out there and you've had adverse reactions to the vaccine, because I'd love to pray for you. Like if you've got, something. I mean, there's people that we know that are in our life that aren't faring too well, because healthy people that all of a sudden they're getting quite sick. But through prayer, God, faith, we can push through. But they should never force things on people, because when you're dealing with medication, and when you're dealing with take marijuana for example, some people can take that stuff and they'll be fine, and then other people can take it and put their brains so far out of whack that they've got to take other medication to actually put it back into whack. And actually, when they take marijuana, somebody takes a drug, it releases a chemical called endorphins, and these endorphins in the brain get released, and it makes people laugh, stupid, and da da da. And your body recognises that. Your body goes, "Hey, what are you releasing so many endorphins for? You shouldn't be out here." And the brain, or the body, starts to shut down pores that you don't release so much. You don't release so much endorphins. And I sort of think about that. You've got to have the right, for any sort of medication, you've got to have the right application. You've also got to be exposed to things before they're any use. When I was about 20 years ago, I went over to Africa, and my doctor, Dr. Butcher, he, because there's all sorts of viruses and all sorts of stuff over there, and he said, you can have this vaccine and that vaccine for this and that. And I didn't really fancy any needles, don't like needles. I'm not really keen on needles. I said, "Oh no, I don't think so." And then he said, "Oh well, you don't have to take all these needles, but you can take the tablets for malaria. And he said, look, if you get the symptoms, take the tablets. He said, a lot of people, but don't take them till you get the symptoms, because a lot of people take the tablet before they get the symptoms, and then the tablets don't work and they get really sick because they're not exposed to the virus, you know. And I think that might be the same with the application of what they're doing with these, you know, what's going on now. It's like if you get that before you're exposed to it, your body sort of shuts things down and says, hey, hang on, you're releasing things before your time. Body shuts them down, and you're sort of playing with things you shouldn't play around with, you know, or just too much of a rush. And one thing that we've found as a family, the doctors are in too much of a rush. They want to, well, I won't go there, but anyway, I put this thing up on Facebook, and it was a picture, and an old mate put it up there. It was a picture of this father who was protecting his child from all these needles, you know. And you know, like, just like my grandmother, she got over, you know, she didn't get Spanish flu and die. Her father did. But her natural immunity, because she was so young, she became an orphan. But because she was so young, her immunity would have built up, and she got over it, and she was fine, you know. And I think when you start messing around with kids' immune system when they're young, because they don't need it. You can even look at the government stats. You know, there's Bargraph, Department of Health, I think it's the federal government or something, and their stats for the ages that are affected by everything that's going on. And children are in the least category of those that are affected, you know, that they have it's better that they get exposed to things. Best thing you can do is get exposed to things rather than run and hide. There's a mentality, run and hide, but the best thing you can do, and unless you're sickly or unfit or something, the other thing too, you know, like you can't go to the someone who's unvaxxed can't go to the gym. And you know, these people that go to the gym, they're the fittest people. They are the fittest people. And they're the least likely that they're going to need any sort of vaccine. That their natural immunity, just like Djokovic, is going to beat it off, you know. So it's like they want to vaccinate all these people that are they're more likely that their immunity, or you could call it the second opinion. You know, when you go to the doctor, you always get a second opinion. That second opinion is getting the statistics for that is actually disappearing, because if you're vaccinating or if you're giving this drug, I call it a drug, to all the healthy people who don't really need it, then you get rid of the people that are actually proving that not everybody needs it. And I mean, you look at people in in India. I don't think they couldn't afford to have, you know, tons of the stuff. So they just gave it to the more sickly people, maybe the elderly and the healthy, and those that had good convictions and knew that they were pretty healthy to get over things. They sort of got on with life, you know. But I'd just like to say too, if anybody's out there and you've had adverse reactions to the vaccines or whatever out there, and wherever you might be, I mean, if this goes somewhere all over the world somewhere, love to pray for you. But yeah, two opinions. So you always get a second opinion, you know. Nick off. dirty fly. Anyway, you always get a second opinion. Yeah, like my yeah. Stupid fly. One of those annoying flies you get that you killed him. There you go. So there he is down there, dead. I'll just stomp on him now. Sorry, this annoying fly. We have those in Australia. um, yeah. What else was I going to say? I think that's about it, you know. And it's a bit rough, you know. The other thing that you should call the people that don't have. It's not that people are anti-vax and that, but I think there's people out there that want to change things to make people, oh, you're really bad people. Even like that Djokovic, they put a picture on. He's such a nice person. They put a photo of him in the paper, and they made him look really angry and nasty because they couldn't find one photo of this guy that's angry, nasty look on his face. You know, he's just such a nice person. But the paper, they tried to make him out look like angry, sort of this angry person, where he's not, mate. He's just a man with common sense. That men have been getting over things for thousands of years, and I don't think you know, forcing people to do things. And there's so many people out there that have been coerced and against their own will and against their own convictions and their own, even nurses and stuff, and everybody, you know. There's so many people that you talk to that aren't happy with what's being forced upon them, you know. Like everyone I talk to, some people are happy, you know, that it's good for them, that good on them. They needed that, and it's not that you're anti medication or anti whatever, but it's like, yeah, well, it's got to have the right application though. It's got to have the right for the right, and everybody's different. Everybody's body's different. Some people allergic to nuts. Some people allergic to shellfish. Some people allergic to this. Some people allergic to that. You know, and you know you don't know how things are going to react with different medications. And you know, like there was another guy. There's one other guy on the. I watched him. He was over east. He was a lower house politician, Craig Kelly, and he was a good bloke. He put this thing to the the other lower house representatives or whatever they are over there, and he said, look, he just put undeniable evidence that this vaccine was affecting children, that they were having heart attacks and all that sort of stuff. And anyway, he just laid it out so clear and so good. So it was like, wow, that's really good. You know, surely they're going to stop all this mandate stuff now. And not one of those lower house people over there with that minister, Craig Kelly, presented it so beautifully, and he put it to him and told him how that they weren't getting any feedback from the people that were getting vaccine. But whereas he had some organisation that they were actually text messaging people within 3 days to see how they're going, and also with the children, how they're having adverse reactions, and that, you know, when people do that, they're taking away those children's right to live life, to overcome things at a young age, and know that they can take the world on, the bull by the horns, take the world on, take whatever comes their way, not worried about sickness and disease. Some of those kids might want to become doctors or nurses themselves one day, or whatever, and they'll have that confidence within themselves to know, yeah, I got over that thing when that when that virus swept through when I was young. I can get through anything. And you know, when they totally relying on some other medication, like I went to the doctor, and he was going to jab my throat with those steroids, because at the back of my throat all swelled up. And so doctors are good. I said, well, what is this, doctor? Is it like a virus or something? You know, like a... he said, yeah, no, it could be. But so his solution was to put this steroid in the back of your throat. And I didn't fancy that. And I said, well, I got this olive leaf extract stuff. Do you mind if I just take that and try that? If that's good for respiratory, it's good for viruses and all that sort of stuff. And he said, yeah, you can try that. That'd be right. So I tried it, and it cleared it up. And that boxing bag at the back of my throat, that actually shrunk down again, and it come good. And I didn't need that needle there, but that doctor, he said he always has that, you know. So maybe him putting the steroids in the back of his throat there, it might have turned it into a hard boxing bag or something, you know. So I'm sort of glad that I went the way that I went. That was sort of a while ago. I also had another instance where I went to the doctor. Absolutely, oh, I'll tell that another time. But like this, you know, you've always basically, basically, you've got to have a second opinion, and there's always got to be a second opinion, and people can't be forced to go a certain way. And people have been, oh, you're anti, you know, you're anti this, you're anti that. No, no, that's fine, that's good. It's working for some people, but the application. The other thing too with that Craig Kelly, that politician, I was thinking, man, why don't and none of those other politicians, none of those other ministers said, okay, we need to shut down this mandate thing. And you know, I thought either they're corrupt, stupid, or litigation. They're worried about litigation or something, you know, like getting sued for you know, for all their stuff they're doing, and they're putting this stuff on the kids. And anyone out there with kids, I encourage you to have a look at what Craig Kelly, the politician over east, he put out there. I went to a peaceful march in. I went to a peaceful march in Perth City. And you know, the other thing, it never gets televised. They never put it on the TV like you know, there was thousands of people down there, and it was a march for the children, not. It was a peaceful march for not vaccinating forcibly the children, you know. And one guy there's all sorts of stories that have been sort of suppressed, you know, that they don't let that information out there, and that's wrong. But there's heaps of information, there's heaps of facts, you know. I think people in our own lives, you can meet somebody that's been affected adversely by everything that's going on. But I think trying to force people for one opinion, otherwise it might as well be a bunch of communists or something, you know, or you know, with any decision that's made, when you're a democracy, there should be like a referendum, like you know, you should ask the people, say, look, we're going to do this. What do you think? And I think that's the problem when you just got a few people that think they know everything that's going on with everybody, where they don't. And you know, that they can't keep going on like that. It's absolutely wrong. And you know, to force people into a position where they you know, where they're excluded or treated like lesser citizens because they've got another opinion, and you know, that's just wrong. But I'll leave it at that, and hopefully that worked. I'll check it out later. Maybe I'll put something else on later. But if anyone's sick or anything, you know, like with adverse reactions to that vaccine or whatever, I'd love to pray for you. Yeah, I'll stop that. Hang on. I think that stopped. Stop recording. Start recording. Stop streaming.